My name is Jane Wales, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the first meeting of the African Philanthropy Forum. For those of you who are, For those of you who are already members of the African Philanthropy Forum, I want to thank you for your vision. For those of you who are new to the African Philanthropy Forum, you won't feel new for very long. We're going to be employing you and recruiting you into the job of co-creating the forum over today and tomorrow. And by the end of the 2 days, I hope you will feel that the APF is very much yours. For those professionals in the room who have dedicated their careers to really building and strengthening civil society throughout Africa, we owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude, and we are grateful also for your generosity in giving us these 2 days to guide us. We hope you are as generous with your ideas as you are with your time, so thank you. And then finally, I just want to say welcome to a new colleague, and that's Pearl Darko. Pearl is the new director of the African Philanthropy Forum, and we're looking forward to and are grateful for her service and her collaborative leadership. I don't know if Pearl is in the room, but if she is, there she is. Pearl, give a stand for us. Now, I've been told that it is my job to provide a little bit of context, so I'll just give you some quick background. 12 years ago, a group of us came together in Silicon Valley. Most of were entrepreneurs who'd had experienced success at a very young age. Many were both the architects and the beneficiaries of the information revolution and the kind of tech-driven economic globalization that it enabled. And they wanted to see globalization's benefits more evenly shared, more broadly shared. And they were willing to put their own resources and their own talents to achieving that goal. As wealth creators, they thought they had special attributes to bring to bear. They had business know-how, they had strategic discipline, they had an eye for talent, and they had a willingness to invent. And as individuals, they had the kind of agility that one needs to try every method at your disposal, mixing and matching various methods to get the job done, and inventing some new methods such as impact investing along the way. But these men and women thought that the most important attribute they brought to the job was a commitment to continuous learning. So folks like Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Google, and John Morgridge of Cisco, and Sheryl Sandberg now of Facebook, Jeff Skoll of eBay, Pam Amidyar, members of the Hewlett family, members of the Packard family, they all made a commitment to this process of continuous learning. And so the Global Philanthropy Forum, a learning community, was born. Now I'm asking you to fast forward to today, to this room, to Africa and to you. Africa has, as we all know, experienced extraordinary success. Its biggest economies are growing at a breakneck pace, I think a combination of global demand for commodities has certainly played a role, but I think more importantly, the vast majority of this growth, the vast majority of this success is the result of choices that were made. The choice to open economies, the choice to connect economies, the choice to invest in one's own, to privatize state-run industries, and establish rules-based systems. These were all choices. They weren't chance, they weren't luck, they were choice. But while Africa has experienced this extraordinary growth, growth continues to be robust, it's not always broad-based. And while development is rapid, it's not always inclusive. And so a group of philanthropists, many of whom are in this room today, have come together to dedicate their resources, their know-how, their commitment to Africa in order to change that equation, to make sure that this growth and this success benefits all Africans. This takes me to your role. The founding members of the African Philanthropy Forum feel that they will only succeed if you guide them and if you join them. And so we're asking you in the 2 days ahead to help in the co-creation of the African Philanthropy Forum, to provide a snapshot of philanthropy as we know it today, and to answer the question of what the APF should look like going forward, taking advantage of, building on the best of African philanthropy. And if you join us, and we hope you will, we're going to be asking 3 things of you. And these are the 3 things that the founding members have asked of themselves. And that's first, that you serve as role models and mentors for emerging philanthropists in Africa who want to make the kind of difference that you're already making. Second, we hope that you will take on the role of teacher, that you will share with your colleagues in the African Philanthropy Forum your lessons learned. They want to know about strategies that have worked and innovators that you supported that make a real difference. So we ask that, secondly, you share your lessons learned, you be generous in teaching. But third, it is our hope that you will not limit your knowledge to the continent. That is to say, there are philanthropists around the world who share your commitment to Africa, but they may not share your knowledge. They would benefit from your guidance. I'm thinking in particular of members of the Global Philanthropy Forum from North and South Africa, from East Asia, from South Asia, who want to contribute to the success of Africa. But they may not have the knowledge, the know-how, the savvy, the understanding, the closeness to the problems and the closeness to the solutions that you have. And so we ask that you share your knowledge well beyond your own borders. Now today what we're going to do, and I think that, actually let me just say that this takes me to my final point, and this is more a matter of intuition than it is of analysis, but it's my deep belief, and a belief that I believe is shared, that the next real spurt of philanthropic innovation will come from Africa. That it will be Africa that shows the way, that tells us that you can have the growth that the global economy allows, but you can have it without disparities. You can have inclusive growth, and you can buck that trend that so many societies are suffering from. And so we ask that you show that way for others around the world. Now, we're going to turn throughout this morning to take a snapshot of philanthropy as it exists today, and then move into a planning session to talk about what the African Philanthropy Forum should look like as a result. But first, I have a special opportunity, and that's an opportunity to introduce perhaps the greatest change agent that Africa knows. I will be introducing to you Her Excellency Nkosazana Zuma, who is chairperson of the African Union Commission. She's an outstanding diplomat. She's a principled politician. She's a caring medical doctor as well. And she's an example to leaders not only in Africa, but everywhere. Throughout her career, first in South Africa and here now in Addis, she has had a commitment and demonstrated a commitment to socioeconomic reform and development. She shares our ambition for African economies that are robust and inclusive, and you know that her impressive history starts with her role in the underground, as an underground member of the ANC, and then served as the first post-apartheid Minister of Health under the Mandela government, having earned her degree in medicine from the University of Bristol. She then went on to both desegregate and introduce free basic health care for all. And then when Thabo Mbeki's administration began, she moved to a different post, and that was as Minister of Foreign Affairs, where Madame Zuma was champion of both human development and human rights. She also moved on to be Minister of Home Affairs. You've held many a significant post. In 2012, she moved So just recently in 2012, she moved from being the shining star of Africa to being shining star of South Africa to being a shining star of Africa in her chairperson role, in which she's continued her quest for a better life for all Africans. So please join me in welcoming Madam Zuma.
Greetings to my brother and our host there, Minister Tedros, the Foreign Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Program Director, distinguished guests. I feel a bit nervous speaking to this type of audience. I'm not used to, but I hope going forward we will have a very close relationship. I'm honored to address this exciting gathering of African Philanthropy Forum with its theme, Access, Equity and Opportunity. Your forum notes that the continent has emerged as a site of innovation, opportunity, and rapid and hopeful change. At the same time, it recognizes that growth must be inclusive and prosperity must be shared to ensure Africa's promising future. These issues are fundamental to the African Union agenda, and we therefore appreciate this opportunity to exchange views with you on these matters. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pan-African movement started as a people's movement against slavery and colonialism, dreamt about an African renaissance where the African can once more take its rightful place amongst the global community of nations. As the culmination of these Pan-African aspirations, the founding of the Organization of African Unity in 1963 and its transformation into the African Union in 2002 was a critical development towards an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful, and towards the shared prosperity of its diverse peoples. 50 years later, we are making progress, but this progress needs to be transformative, faster, and more inclusive. The last decade in particular has been seen Africa turning the corner with advance in a number of political, social, and economic indicators. At the same time, given the challenges of poverty, marginalization, and underdevelopment, the realization of the vision of an African Union of an integrated and prosperous and peaceful Africa has become even more urgent. As President Nelson Mandela said, I quote, "Poverty is not an accident. It is man-made, and it can be removed by the actions of human beings." Close quote. It is in this context that the African Union is developing Agenda 2063 as a consolidation of African aspirations over time, and a vision with milestones to achieve these aspirations, hopefully at a faster pace within the coming years and decades. Agenda 2063 must therefore unite Africans around an agreed upon vision for the future and the acceleration of continental transformation. It therefore seeks to bring together into a coherent framework and milestones the different continental, regional, and national plans that have been developed over time. Ladies and gentlemen, the process to develop Agenda 2063 and its key milestones are in progress, with the consultations with the African citizenry and governments, which will culminate in its adopting the framework, hopefully in July 2014 summit. There are, however, already a number of African development priorities set out in plans like the Lagos Plan of Action, Abuja Treaty, NEPAD, PIDA, CADAP, and other sectoral frameworks around which work is being done and around which consensus has emerged. And of course, Agenda 2063 will incorporate and put it in one coherent framework, all these. The first of these, in line with these, the theme of this forum is the need to invest in Africa's people as our main resource. Because whilst we are developing the framework, we have identified a few mega trends that we are working on already, and one of them is investing in our people as our main resource and our main and precious resource. This priority includes addressing the burden of disease, drastic reduction in infant and maternal child mortality, improving access to health, as well as water and sanitation, shelter, and other basic needs. Most importantly, we must scale up investments in education, training, science, research, technology, and innovation, as well as in African universities, including the Pan-African University, and in vocational and technical education sector. And I'm glad to note that there is some work that is being done by universities to try and harmonize the curricula in various areas so that it wouldn't matter where a person has studied, they can still work in any part of Africa. And I hope that work will go on and be concluded. We need it. The AU Commission therefore calls for and works with all concerned towards what we call a skills revolution. And I hope that your forum will discuss how we can achieve this. Because we do think that for us to sustain the growth or even to improve it and to have inclusive growth and shared prosperity, we need a skilled African youth. Promoting inclusive and sustainable economic development and growth is our second priority. In this regard, Africa is to use its comparative advantage. One, its young population, its minerals, its oceanic resources, forests, land, and other natural resources. It has to industrialize, to create decent jobs and economic opportunities for all its people, to expand intra-African trade and build its green and blue economies. Since I'm talking to you, I also would like to invite you to participate in the discussions of how to achieve this, including the critical issues of investment, of training, skills and technology transfer, and ensuring fair taxation. Of course, no economy can grow sustainably without the necessary infrastructure, especially energy, transport, ICT, and water, but also other economic and social infrastructure. The extent of African infrastructure backlogs is well known. We must therefore work together to mobilize the necessary finances, especially through instruments such as the Africa 50 Private Equity Fund for infrastructure that the ADB has established. Africa is also home to at least 60% of the world's unused arable land. It is in that context that the AU declared 2014 as the year of agriculture and food security. We will this year ensure an extensive focus on agriculture, productivity, and investment, especially for small-scale farmers and women, as well as expanding agricultural infrastructure. We have to look at irrigation, storage, transport, and for the development of the African agro-processing industries. The above 4 priorities, investing in people, in our economies, infrastructure, and agriculture, are a necessary condition for development, but also critical towards the achievement and maintenance of peace in the continent. Our 5th Pan-African priority is therefore the attainment of sustainable peace and human security. This means that we have to address the root causes of instability in our countries. We have to manage diversity, build democratic, accountable, and people-centered governments and institutions, ensure inclusive social, political, and economic development, empower women, invest in young people, and give them a stake in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, we also know that no society can develop if it operates at half capacity. Investment in the continent's girls and women, empowering them to contribute towards the development of the continent, therefore not only makes social sense, but it is also an economic imperative. The empowerment of women not only leads to healthier and better educated families and children, but more generally towards stronger communities, societies, and businesses. Young people and women are the majority of the African population now and into the future. We must therefore unleash their energies, creativity, dedication, and innovation towards the development of all sectors of our societies. There is no surer way to build equity, opportunity, and access than to invest in the education and empowerment of women and young people. But of course, I see in your program that the first 2 sessions are going to be precisely on this, youth and women. And we have also set up milestones for our development as a continent and redefine our place in the world. We must take charge of the African narrative, telling our own stories. It is for this reason that the African Union is improving its outreach in communities to engage Africans in all different sectors to highlight the African story in all its diversity. We also hope that when we are finished with the framework of 2063, people, partners, and everybody will engage with us on the basis of that framework. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa has a long history of giving, sharing, and mutual support and solidarity. African philanthropy, although not well documented, has got deep roots. In our context, it is defined maybe by what Mahamadou and Ibrahim said, and I quote, "It is beyond charity and altruism, not only for the dignity and fulfillment of all people, but it seeks to root out the causes of poverty, suffering, and inequality. Philanthropy inspires and promotes individual growth and community welfare. In Africa, specifically, philanthropy is shaped by community and social values," close quote. So philanthropy and solidarity in Africa therefore takes various forms as religious and spiritual philanthropy, traditionally a powerful driving force for generosity, as corporate philanthropy through social responsibility programs and investments in employees as well as individuals, and community-based self-help and solidarity, where thousands and thousands of individuals volunteer their time and offer own resources, sometimes in the myriad of social grassroots and self-help organizations across the continent. If we agree to this broad definition of philanthropy, then we should engage on the practical implications of the Pan-African priorities outlined above as part of addressing the root causes of suffering, inequality, and poverty. Most importantly, we must recognize that philanthropy and solidarity is not just the preserve of those with resources and power, but that ordinary Africans in their thousands are part of this broad African movement. This is an important social capital which this forum should continue to harness and build on. The African Union over the past couple of years has been discussing the issue of funding African development and institutions through a range of different initiatives. These include funding instruments such as Africa 50 Fund for infrastructure, the formation of an African Union Foundation, the African Remittances Institute, African Solidarity Initiative for Peace and Security, and through existing regional development financing institutions. At the same time, we're also looking at alternate sources of funding and how to stop illicit outflows of capital from the continent. So 2014 will be an important culmination of these processes, and we hope a milestone towards African self-reliance and solidarity. With those few words, I wish this forum successful deliberations and look forward to engaging with you and work with you on the outcomes of your forum. I thank you.
Thank you so much to Madam Zuma for very good guidelines on how we need to ensure that philanthropy is doing what it's supposed to do in partnership with the African Union. My name is Tsitima Siwa, and I'm a member of the advisory board of the Global Philanthropy Forum. I'm also a founding member of the African Philanthropy Forum. It is my great pleasure this morning to introduce His Excellency, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Ethiopia's Foreign Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs. As Foreign Minister, Dr. Ghebreyesus has worked to promote both peace and prosperity, and has come to be known as one of Africa's leading diplomats. However, being an acclaimed diplomat is not all that he has in common with Madame Zuma, because prior to assuming this post, he served as Minister of Health for his country. In that role, he spearheaded efforts to address specific diseases such as malaria and HIV/AIDS, and he worked to strengthen the health systems throughout Ethiopia, placing special emphasis on improving maternal care. And like Madame Zuma, he promoted universal basic health care. Dr. Ghebreyesus was the first non-American recipient of the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Humanitarian Award. For those reasons, I believe that he will be pleased to know that during this meeting, we will be discussing philanthropy's role in health systems, strengthening and also in advancing the health of women and girls. I would like you please to join me with a big smile on your faces in welcoming His Excellency Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
Thank you for that kind introduction. Good morning. Excellency and my sister, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Ms. Jane Wells, CEO, Global Philanthropy Forum, and World Affairs Council Vice President, the Aspen Institute, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to Addis Ababa to attend this very important meeting, and I hope your stay will be pleasant and exciting. I would also like to thank Jane Wells, CEO of the Global Philanthropy Forum, for inviting me to attend the first meeting of the African Philanthropy Forum. In her letter, Jane asked me if I share her enthusiasm for the creation of the African Philanthropy Forum. And I didn't answer that question until today. So the answer is I do. I strongly do. And I was encouraged to hear also, we just had a very brief meeting before we joined you. She told me that the target was to have not more than 45 philanthropists join, but the achievement is 103, which is more than double. And this is very exciting, a very good start. And I thank all those who have joined for their commitment. And my sister Nkosazana had already in detail described the definition of philanthropy. But when philanthropy started, it had a very simple definition. Of course, we have the modern definition now. It was very simple but very complete, which means humanity love. And that's the basis of all that came after that. But if we take the humanity love, which is the cornerstone, I think we can achieve a lot. And those who have joined today, that was what you have shown. Your readiness to humanity love. And I don't want to go into details, but since my sister had already dwelled on that, and I was actually impressed the way she explained the Vision 2063 for our Africa, and relating it to your role with regard to the Vision 2063. But in a nutshell, the vision for Africa in 2063 is to achieve upper middle class Africa, and the key areas would be to have a prosperous, integrated, and peaceful Africa. And I hope your commitment will help in realizing this big vision for Africa. And this forum especially is being held at a very important time. This is a year when we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Organization of African Unity and the African Union, and also a time when we're planning for the next 50 years, which my sister had already outlined in a detailed manner. So this is a good timing for you to harmonize your efforts with the vision of our Africa, with the vision of Pan-Africanism. And the theme chosen for this first meeting of the forum, Access, Equity, and Opportunity, could not have been more timely in both addressing these critical issues in a holistic manner and how philanthropists need to be increasingly strategic in pursuit of them. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, many African countries, as has been said earlier, have made remarkable progress in recent years in all fronts and are continuing to make robust efforts to sustain their hard-fought development gains. In fact, the continent once known by many as a land of crisis and destitution has proven to the world that it's no longer so and is taking charge of its own destiny, despite its limited capacities, by pursuing a path towards achieving durable peace, stability, and sustainable development. This, however, is not to say that all is well. Rather, our determination has been elated by our achievements, which in turn reveal the fact that much still remains to be done and that we stand a better chance of realizing our objective if our efforts are complemented with strong partnership, a vital component of cooperation. And in today's rapidly changing global development landscape, it has become abundantly clear that the old premise through which development cooperation used to be viewed have come of age, and the quest for new strategic partnership and cooperation framework has become indispensable. Among many such partnerships, Philanthropy has begun to stand out as one of the reliable supplements to the traditional development assistance. Philanthropy organizations can play a critical role as development partners in order to provide a better quality of life for the peoples of Africa through promotion of growth and development. Their heterogeneous group of actors often engage in multi-stakeholder partnerships at country and local levels. I believe this unique quality, coupled with their ability to develop and test new solutions to address various socio-economic development challenges, best positioned them to partner with governments, CEOs, and others in reaching out to the most vulnerable. There is even a much broader and more significant role that these organizations and foundations can play through forging public-private partnership. Private philanthropic foundations are now becoming key actors making important contributions through leadership, expertise, and financial support. They have begun to make a real dent in the struggle to eradicate poverty and underdevelopment. This partnership can be harnessed to enable governments and other stakeholders in Africa and other developing countries achieve more tangible development outcomes, thereby creating conducive conditions for ensuring sustainable growth and development. Such constructive engagement no doubt enhances the collaborative efforts of reaching out to the poor and destitute, enabling them to benefit from the opportunities that arise from the partnership. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as I have said earlier, the future of international development cooperation is visibly faltering, where pursuing business as usual scenario may not take us too far in realizing our goals. Nevertheless, we in Africa still firmly believe that official development assistance is key to enable us sustain our progress, particularly in the final stretch to 2015 and beyond to effectively address existing and emerging development challenges. Equally, we believe that within the new Global Development Partnership framework, the role of philanthropy organizations should be given serious consideration and attention it deserves so that their special engagement will be elevated into an enduring partnership. With the increasingly important role of philanthropic foundations and other actors in supporting national development efforts, however, I believe maximum results can be achieved if there is strong coordination and coherence at country level based on the fundamental principles of aligning activities with national development priorities. Using parallel systems to those of governments often leads to higher transaction costs and fragmentation. It's therefore important for these foundations to focus on broader picture and adopt a win-win approach rather than confine themselves only to a supply-driven support. The model of partnership should be demand-driven with the ownership by the beneficiaries. We in Ethiopia are collaborating with our development partners to address our multifaceted development challenges. With the vision of becoming a middle-income and carbon-neutral economy by 2025, we have managed to register, on average, a 10% growth rate over the past decade. This makes us one of the fastest-growing non-oil economies in Africa. In realizing our development objectives, we work closely with all actors, including philanthropy organizations and individuals who are committed to the cause of eradicating poverty and improve the lives of Ethiopians. In this context, let me seize this opportunity to express a great debt of gratitude to all those philanthropists who extended genuine support to our country. And allow me also to mention one individual among the many philanthropists in our country. One such individual who committed her life to a noble cause that testifies to the true nature of humanity. My preference to mention that person today is because January 24 was her birthday, and her official birthday celebration will be actually in March. She is 90 and still operating, doing surgery at 90. This extraordinary and selfless individual is Dr. Katherine Hamlin, who will always be remembered by all Ethiopians for her incredible philanthropic work in Ethiopia. I prefer to use this forum to thank her because I believe this is the right forum to thank our philanthropists who made a difference. Dr. Katherine Hamlin, with her husband, Dr. Reg Hamlin, co-founded the Addis Ababa Fistula Hospital, a medical center dedicated exclusively to providing free obstetric fistula repair surgery to poor Ethiopian women suffering from childbirth injuries. She has actually made a visible difference in changing the lives of many Ethiopian women and girls. Thank you so much, Katherine, for what you have done to our compatriots. In conclusion, I must call upon philanthropic organizations engaged in development cooperation to be active in low-income countries where a low return on investment should not be a sole factor to keep risk-averse actors from engaging. But I can assure you that Africa, as the next global growth pole, affords ample opportunities to foundations to benefit from their investments, and with adequate volume, type, and quality of assistance can constructively contribute to the development process of the continent. And I believe the outcome of this forum provides tangible and actionable recommendations to this effect. Once again, I want to wish you a happy stay in Addis Ababa and a success in your deliberations. I thank you.